All right, well, if you're watching the replay, this is just a simple about 20-second lead-in for the show, because if you were here on Thursday, well, you have been waiting behind some commercials, maybe some ads, maybe a political poll before you got to hear Jason and I spit some knowledge. And so that's all you're watching right now. So with that, it is Thursday night. It's 7 p.m., which means you found your way to the Car Guy and SIXFAN show here on YouTube. And, well, maybe you're listening to us a day or two later on SoundCloud.com on the Car Guy and SIXFAN show podcast. But welcome in, everybody. You've found your way to the Straight SIXFAN channel, and that means, well, that's only half this equation. I'm SIXFAN of the Car Guy and SIXFAN show. So over this direction
is Jason, and I am the car guy or old car guy of the Car Guy and SIXFAN show. And if you haven't done so yet, on your way in, pull up a chair, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to Grant's YouTube channel, now is the time to do that, because he's chasing 2,000 subscribers. I'm chasing 5. We're trying to get to our goals. We're trying to do better with the whole YouTube thing. And in return, tonight's show is a little bit different. Grant, why don't you tell the folks what we're doing on tonight's show before we jump into the chat there?
Well, yeah, as you guys know, for the longtime followers, our season runs are about 18 episodes long, and so that means after tonight, there's only 2 episodes left. And the way it shakes out, we kind of go 2 on, 1 off with an interview. This would be a legacy episode. So we thought, since we have guests coming up, that maybe now's the opportune time to take a look back at season 4 and kind of hit the highlights. And so we think we have a kind of creative way about doing that. We're going to give out some awards for some of our guests. But before we do that, Jason, who do we have in the live chat at the moment?
Well, Terry Eford was the first one besides myself to enter into the chat. We got Will's Wheels. We've also got Johnny XR7. King Eric, the greatest of all, is here. And who else we got? We got Trucker Dave, Scott Speed Shop, Rust Belt Mechanic. Thank you guys for joining into the show tonight. And you're going to enjoy things. Sit back, relax, grab a cold one, and enjoy what we're classifying as the Season 4 Old Car Guy, Straight SIXFAN, or the Car Guy and SIXFAN Show Awards ceremony. Let's begin.
Yeah, so we'll kind of rewind all the way back to our first guest, and actually stick around till the end, because we do have some awards to hand out to some of you guys, the viewers, the hardcore ones, the ones that have been here for almost every show. So we want to have some fun with it. But our first guest to season 4 was Zach Alport of Watch My Eco. So a crazy guy trying to get insane power out of a 4-cylinder, 2.3 liter Mustang, who just recently dynoed his rebuilt motor, and he wins the over 125 horsepower per cylinder award for season 4. Jason, talking with Zach, we like the offbeat hot rodding. Any other thing you kind of remember from our show there?
Well, one thing that I always enjoy is when we do have a guest on the show, and the guest is comfortable. Somebody who can kind of sit there and speak back to you and answer your questions and kind of not leave you hanging. And that's one of the things that I remember about Zach, is that he was very engaging and a very good guest to have on the show.
So after Zach, then that takes us to our next guest. So Jason, why don't you announce the award from the second guest of the season?
So our second guest that we had back in July was Aaron and Emily Reeves from Flying Sparks Garage. And Aaron and Emily are going to receive the Love Story Award. And if you guys don't recall why, it's because these folks are lovebirds from high school. They've been together for quite a while. And in fact, they still have the same, what is it, an RX-7, I believe, that they dated in way back in the day. So
3 Datsun 250, 260Z or whatever.
Right.
Whatever.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So,
yeah.
So it's a Datsun. They still have that same car, and just the fact that anytime you see these guys on live or in person or whatever, they just are true people. There's no hidden persona. They're just great, bubbly people, very energetic, and we really enjoyed having them on the show. After Flying Sparks Garage, we jumped into a quick guest. I shouldn't say quick. It was a really good show from George from Nick's Garage. Why don't you take that one away for the award on that one, Grant?
Well, before we get to George, the man behind the scenes for Nick's Garage, one thing I just wanted to kind of piggyback on what you said about Emily and Aaron is I got a chance to meet them in person after our show when they came to town, my neck of the woods anyway, for Rocky Mountain Race Week 2.0, and literally they were just as down home and in person and bubbly. It was as if we were friends since high school. But yes, George Clark of Nick's Garage was our next guest. And so he receives the 2020 runner-up for the longest beard award. And honestly, it's funny. After we came up with that, I was looking at some of the recent photos of our first guest, Zach Alport from Washmaiko, and he's got a pretty wicked beard now. But George, we're doing this at the time they came on the show, so George wins the runner-up for longest beard award here on the CARRGUY and SIXFAN show.
Yeah, and then we jumped into our guest, Dirt Lifestyle. And if you guys don't remember, Dirt Lifestyle is going to be the fella who is known for the best fabricator. Oh my goodness! Try this again. Where's my cards? The best fabricator to interview out of a van award. Why don't you talk a little bit about that, Grant?
Yeah, so Dirt Lifestyle's been a guy. Nate did a little working for Bleep and Jeep for a while. But if you've spent even a second on his channel, you'll know that his fabrication skills are second to none. And this just so happened to be Jason and I had to shuffle up the order of who was interviewing when.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I accidentally kicked the Cat 5 cable under my desk. So anyway, I think where I was at was I was on vacation in Montana and having to do the live stream out of the back of our rental camper van. So it's when we interviewed Nate. So it's half of an award for him, half an award for just the memory of being on vacation. But before we actually had interviewed Dirt Lifestyle, we had Dylan McCool on. Everybody, I don't think he needs an introduction, but Jason, you want to talk a little bit about the award we're handing out to Dylan tonight?
Yeah, sure. I didn't mean to jump past on the cue cards there, but nevertheless, we're going to jump in. This was probably one of the more impressionable interviews that we did in season 4, having Dylan on. And the award that we're giving Dylan is the Worst of Body. When are you going to paint it? Award. And you guys all know that he's every vehicle he's ever worked on has always been some sort of a ratty something or other. And nevertheless, we're talking about a vehicle currently, his Challenger, that is in pretty rough shape. So that's why we're giving him the When Are You Going to Paint It award. What do you anything you want to add to that, Grant?
Yeah, I just, we're kind of poking fun at, usually at a car show, there's best of paint. So we thought we'd give him worst to paint. No, but, it's funny. Just, I guess, it's 4 seasons now, Jason, just reflected on what we've built over this time and being able to land someone like Dylan. And then, the pre-show, the after show, getting to talk to these people, you're like, hey, they're just like one of us. And Dylan was definitely one that, heck, we could probably pick it up and do it again next season if we wanted.
Yeah, and part of the whole thing, like as you guys know, by having some of these guests on the show, is it's not just so much about building up us. It's more about building networking and building relationships with some of these people because we're all part of that same community. I see some of these guys in the chat, Rust Belt Mechanic, Terry Eford, who also have YouTube channels, and small collaborations or just kind of networking is part of what we're trying to do. As part of this goal or this journey through what we're calling YouTube.
Yeah, and we'll get into it in a little bit later. Hopefully we have times for some tips and tricks for everybody. When we grow you guys just as much, this is networking just as much too. Having this relationship with those in the live stream. So again, in which we'll kind of get at that. A couple of guys just popped in. Chris Bird, Trucker Dave. Scott Speed Shop, if we haven't mentioned your name already, Novitaz, and Dirty Garage Mods. Welcome to the show. So thank you, everybody. our next award goes to a buddy of ours from Down Under and a day away. So we are giving to Streetcar Culture the Great Language Barrier Reef Award is what we're giving him. And just kind of poking. He wanted to poke fun at how Jason said things and how I said things. So you know what? It's our show. So Down Under, Jason, take that.
Yeah. I was hoping he would be in the chat tonight so that he would certainly appreciate that, and I know that he's good humored enough to take that just the way we intended it to. But the night that we had him on the show was fun because he did make fun of Grant and I for some of the ways that we were talking, and of course we all know that we're talking some pretty decent English here, and he just felt the need to poke fun of that. So it was great to have somebody. If I had to throw another award down there to Streetcar Culture, I would have to say it's the furthest distance away for an interview award. Obviously, being on the other side of the globe is something that is not something that we would do every day. But as Grant said, he was coming to us from a day away. It was Friday morning where he is, and that's how we got to interview him.
Yeah, and just getting the insight into the Australian car scene, it was I think it was kind of nice to hit the reset button, kind of take a step away, get outside of our comfort zone, because really, if we were interviewing someone from Japan, even, I think there'd be more familiarity with like a Nissan Skyline, with Supras and things like that. But they have a lot of our domestic brands, but they're not the same thing down under. So I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah, and then next up, we had an interview with Jason Rushforth from Rushforth Wheels, and as you guys know, this guy is not only a kind of a fabricator or designer of some really fancy custom wheels, but he's also a BMX rider. So rather than coming from rags to riches, we're going to call him from BMX to AMX, maybe. I don't know. To be able to, have that sport in the background of his, growing up with his kids and still BMXing at 40 something years old, raising your kids and then still have a career to go to when the day, when things get down to business and you got to make money. So he's getting the BMX to AMX award.
So after we had Rushforth on, we brought onto the show Eddie from EM Performance, and it was funny because I'll take the, how do I want to say this? I scheduled him on a whim, kind of thinking that there might be something else out there, but then I realized as we got closer, like, you know what, this guy is going to be really like narrow focus. He's all into Fox bodies. And I was kind of really worried about how the show might go, but if we didn't find someone who is any more, like, he was the most appreciative person I think we've ever had on. And just like, so the award we're giving Eddie is the Dark Horse Give You the Shirt Off His Back Award, because I think by the time Jason and I hung up that night, like, holy cow, this guy is not only like super appreciative, but he feels like he's going to do just about anything he just wants to help people. And so I think that was just like a surprising kind of character trait that neither Jason or I saw coming. Jason, I don't know if you had anything to add to that.
Well, I guess the biggest thing that I come out of that interview was, unlike some of the great big YouTubers that we've interviewed, it's I felt like I really wanted to go call this guy up, say, hey, let's go have a beer, let's hang out, because he just seems like a guy that you've known forever, even though that night was the first time I had ever spoken to him or even really kind of knew who he was.
Yeah, and just real quick, I want to address something. We had a question coming from the chat. So, Dirty Garage Mods, I know you kind of jumped in midstream and you're asking what's the award thing about. So this episode, just to kind of hit the reset for anybody else who's jumping in, it's all about, we're kind of recapping season 4, and we're taking a look at all the guests we had on, because we only have 2 episodes left, and those both are going to be interview episodes here moving forward, episodes 17 and 18. So we thought, if we were going to do a recap episode of season 4, this would be it. So hopefully that explains why we're handing out these cheesy awards. And that brings us up to Jacob Ross Davis, who was only a couple of weeks ago. But we're going to give him 2 awards, actually. So, Jason, I'll let you hand out the first one, and I'll do the second.
All right. Actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to do the second just because I wasn't quite sure where you were coming from. I
Oh,
guess
no, I
with
just
the
meant
with
you pick whichever one you want.
okay,
Sorry,
so
that's what it.
perfect. Then I'm going to go with the Jacob Davis award. Oh my God, I can't even talk tonight. We're going to edit this in post, by the way. We're going to give Jacob Davis the Odd Body Award simply because he came to the table with the Green Hornet, as you guys recall, which was the AMC Hornet. I almost called it a Hudson Hornet. Wagon, sportabout wagon. And you don't get much more odd than a sportabout wagon. And he's kind of done that scene crossing the country two or three or four, I think he said 7 times altogether
Yeah, I think
with that car.
that's right.
And in his most recent episode, which by the way just went up, I think yesterday or the day before, he has made a trek to Iowa to visit Junkyard Diggs, who was a former guest on our show. So that's a great episode. You guys want to go check that one out. Grant, what's the award that you wanted to give him?
Yeah, so I wanted to hand out to Jacob the best parlay of opportunities into Car Guy Career Award, meaning, let's listen to his story. And he talked about it was the Green Hornet. Like he kind of was leveraging kind of opportunity on opportunity. And, he found his way all the way up to being an editor for Hot Rod Magazine. And so I just think that, if anything, when it comes to growing your YouTube channel, go back and listen to that interview and think about what are some of the little moments that you can do. And before you know it, maybe you could be editing Hot Rod Magazine like Jacob. But you just mean you never know where you could take yourself. So that's what I wanted to hit on there.
So I think I'm missing something in the chat here, but nevertheless, we're going to move on.
Yeah, I'm trying to follow, but I'm not trying to follow. So yeah, I know what you mean there.
Yeah. Well,
So point is, it's gonna when you're listening to the SoundCloud podcast, that little segment's gonna be gold because there's gonna be no context for you poor podcast listeners. But anyway, Jason.
yeah. So back into the awards ceremony, which really brings us up to last week when we had Rich and Aaron from DeBoss Garage with our co-host, who came on to join us with that show because Grant had something that was keeping him away from the show that night. So Jeff Ford filled in for Grant, and then there was basically the four of us on there. The stream went on for almost an hour. So these guys are getting the Chatty Cathy Award for the longest show in season 4. And that is basically a co-shared award with Jeff Ford because Jeff took up a lot of time talking to.
And that's kind of the perfect segue into we're done talking about all of our guests. Yes, Jeff Ford wasn't a guest per se; he was a co-host, so he's gonna co-share that award with DeBoss Garage. Which, by the way, that was a great episode. I do regret that I couldn't have been part of it, but you guys did a great job in my absence. I was at a city planning commission meeting having to present one of my projects, and it was a small town. No, I just want to say, well, first off, if I wanted to know Chatty Cathy was going, I could have made it home with an hour drive. We presented a little after 6:30, and I had an hour drive, and I still could have caught the end of that Car Guy and SIXFAN show, but I thought I was past the normal time. But it's small town, and it's really you wait for your turn, and I give a 2-minute presentation. Like, nope, okay, you're good. And I'm like, I missed the Car Guy and SIXFAN show for this. You needed someone in person to really that's it. You didn't really have that many questions. So sorry, a little bit of a tangent, but we wanted to hand out some awards to you, the viewers. And so with that, I know, Jason, you've been waiting for this one. So I will let you do the honors of handing out an award to our buddy King Eric, the greatest period of all period.
Yeah, so, I mean, Eric is here basically every live stream, and he's great to have because he's fun in the chat. He's got lots to say, lots of sarcasm. Therefore, King Eric, the greatest of all, is getting the Rosetta Stone of Sarcasm Award from the CARRGUY and SIXFAN show. Thank you, Eric, for being such a good sport, for being in the chat, and giving us our comeuppance and not being afraid to call us out when the time comes for that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter what we say; he can always spin it into something that's hilarious. So we appreciate Eric you being a part of this show, and another one of the probably most loyal uh, every week attendees would be Auto Alley, and so but oftentimes Allie is so excited to get here that she's one of the first in the chat, and so. We wanted to give her the shows up sooner than the in-laws to the party award. You know how whenever you're hosting something at your house and you need that last 5 minutes to like wipe down the counter one last time and slide something under the rug. Well, that's Allie. So thank you, Allie.
Yeah, and then we're going to go into Paul from Paul's Speed Shop. Now, if you guys don't know or follow him on Instagram, he goes by the Instagram handle Butt Crack Pizza. And back a few, I just said it again, see? Back a few episodes ago when we did the virtual car show, that's kind of how we had to address him by his submissions. So Paul is getting the Bare Naked Ladies Award for making me say butt crack. And if you don't know why I've used Bare Naked Ladies, because if you remember that song, it says, I just made you say underwear. So that's why we're giving Paul Speed Shop that award. Thanks, Paul.
And from there, this is kind of going to be the perfect segue because thank you, Sean from Novotaz, for once again supporting us through the super chat. So we really appreciate that. But as you guys know, I did give away that Flowmaster muffler, which, by the way, if you didn't hear by now, Stuff with Cletus was the winner of the Flowmaster giveaway. And he did confirm that it did show up on his doorstep and nobody stole it from his doorstep in South Central Arkansas or whatever part of Arkansas he's from. Because I ran the risk of not, I just shipped it in the Flowmaster box. It's like, I think people know what a Flowmaster is sitting on your doorstep in that area of Arkansas. But anyway, I digress. We are giving away to Nathan Lipinski. You may know him as Nate's Falcon over on Instagram. But we're giving him the Super Chat High Roller of the Season 4 award for spending the most money in Super Chat for that muffler.
See, it's contagious.
He spent $1 more than Sean Novotaz, and he's going to wrap up. He's going to be our final award we hand out. Jason?
Yeah, so Novotaz is another YouTuber. He's also got his own show on Sunday evenings. So if you guys don't follow Novotaz, go over there and hit him up. I know he'd appreciate you dropping into his Sunday evening live streams. Sean was actually a little bit early on tonight's chat, which kind of defeats this award. But nevertheless, I'm giving it anyways because Novotaz is earning the late to the party because he really didn't want to come award. He's usually showing up here about 25 after and just missing out on some of the best parts of the show. But nevertheless, he's here almost every episode. And Sean, we really appreciate you being here. And I appreciate the super chat. And if you guys don't know what he's referring to by bubbles, it's a kind of an inside joke between Novotaz and myself. BLM, Bubbles Lives Matter.
And if you want to know more about what Jason means by that, if you're like, no, I really want to know this inside secret, well, then go recruit extra subscribers for him to get him to 5,000 subscribers. And you can probably piece some things together. We'll say it that way.
Yeah, so that is something, and we're going to get to that here in a bit before we go off air. But it's I think it's kind of time to. Well, are we going to do the Grant Tommy and the Jason Carr awards now, or are we going to do those at the end of the show?
I was thinking we'd do it at the end of the show, but since we have so much time, so we don't forget about it, maybe we should do that now, and then we'll pick up with the rest of our format. Do you like that?
Sure, I'll let you go first.
All right. Well, I swear I had a really, really good one, but I didn't write it down earlier, and then my workday happened, and I cannot remember what it was. It probably wasn't that good. But I'm going to give I got to give this award to Jason because for all the troubles I've gone through with the Fairmont and all the ups and downs, mostly the downs when I'm bitching to him, which I guess now I got to go click an extra box in my monetization review. now because of that. But anyway, I'm gonna give Jason the always focused on the windshield award because he's usually there to pick me up with saying the right words at the right time, knows when to cut off ribbon me, and knows when to knows when to say, hey, I think you're making this harder than you think. So Jason, thank you for that.
Yep. Listen, no problem at all. And I appreciate the banter back and forth because I know there's times where I've leaned on you for certain things, and you've helped me out just the same. So the Grant Tommy award that I'm going to be giving Grant, believe it or not, guys, I've got three, and I'm having a hard time trying to decipher which one I want to do. So you guys need to help me pick out which award Grant's going to get tonight. So the first one is the longest series on YouTube for a brake repair. So I'm not sure what you guys think of that. Just think about that one for a second. The other one is the inability to pronounce commonly spoken words award. He kind of, takes regular English words and just messes them up somehow. I'm not sure how he does that. And the third option is the most absentees on his own damn show award. You guys can mention down in the comments below which award Grant should get. And
yeah, People's Choice Award on this one.
People's Choice Award on that. So it's longest series on YouTube, inability to pronounce commonly known spoken words, or the most absentees on his own damn show award.
I think I would. I think I would vote for number 3 because I think that's pretty funny.
Well, that was kind of what I was going for initially, and I said, well, there was a couple others I wanted to throw in there just to get that dig a little bit. So. Yeah, it looks like number 3 from Rust Belt Mechanics. Jed saying number 3. There's a couple of number 3s in there. So, Grant, I bestow upon you the most absentees on your own damn show award. So thank you for the absentees.
Well, it's truly an honor to receive this award. I could have done it myself. Actually, I could have only done it myself. So. By not showing up and leaving you high and dry.
Just saying. Just saying. Somebody on the show has perfect attendance. Well, just going to leave that right there. So as we move on to the kind of getting into some of the serious stuff, before we end the show, we've got a few more minutes. So we are going to kind of talk a little bit about some of the things that are to come on the show. And I know there could be an award for this one too, but Grant, is there something else that you want to share about your channels, things that are coming up?
No, not really, because I'm still taking a little hiatus. Just feel like, well, honestly, I was going to keep this one until the last episode, but I think it makes more sense now. I do plan on bringing back 5-Minute Fridays, but that's one of those things where I want to make sure I've got like a good series. I don't want to just do it for 2 weeks, flake out, and do it one other time. So I want to have at least 5 show ideas. I've got 2 in the hopper, but 5-Minute Fridays after the CARRGUY and SIXFAN show ends will definitely be a second piece of content weekly, I believe. So that's kind of something I wanted to project out there as we look forward. But Jason, what's kind of coming down the pike for old CARRGUY?
Well, this is kind of a great segue for me to say, if you're not following me on Instagram, now is the time to go do so. It's at Old CARRGUY, because yesterday I teased some pictures of a car that I bought. Some of you guys know what it is. Some of you don't. Some of you are guessing. But it's a big cat, and you're not going to want to miss that upload for tomorrow night. It's going to be some fun stuff. Also, we've got some teasers for the 5,000 subscriber bonus, where you guys know we're going to be blowing up a car, maybe 2 for once we get to 5,000 subscribers, but we're going to go out and we're recording that this weekend. And I've got some high school students who are coming out with me to help record, and production value is going to be a little bit better this time than it was last, and you guys are really going to enjoy that. So the teasers, we're going to release those sooner than later. Out there having some fun bombing around. But the blowing up ones are going to be saved for the 5,000 subscriber once we get there. So if you're not subscribed to me yet, please go over and do so.
At this point, we did want to encourage you guys. If you have questions for us, go ahead and throw those in the chat. We'll try to monitor that and try to get those answered for you. But I do see Eric was asking me. I don't know if this is by design or by accident, but he was asking, starting the Fairmont Sundays, meaning am I going to start a new series of trying to start the Fairmont every Sunday, which is a valid question. Because that's why you haven't seen any content, because I've had 2 Sundays where I've tried to start it and it didn't start. So I'm not going to make a video out of that just because you've seen it before. Or if you were just asking if I'm going to try to start the Fairmont on Sunday. No, I'm not. Actually, I've taken a little bit of a break, kind of just mentally exhausted, but I'm calling in the big guns, the person I trust the most when it comes to mechanic work. And we're going to work something out over next week and see if I can get his expertise. But let's see, you guys are. Oh, so Jed asks, when am I going to call you back? Well, today was crazy. I was going to do it over lunch, Jed, but it didn't work out that way. I worked through my lunch, so I don't know when I'm going to call you back. When you can call me back, I left you the message. So,
So
no.
also, Will's Wheels has a question in there asking each of us, I guess, do we have a video that we are most proud of, and if so, which one? Go ahead, Grant.
Well, I've got. I mean, there's more than one, but I would say that the current recent one that's surprising me is when I did a comparison between the GT40P heads and the heads that I yanked off the Fairmont. I kind of knew at the time. I felt really good about the thumbnail I put together, and I thought it might perform well. And it is now on a 48-hour cycle, outpacing my best of my best videos. So, for instance, and those are my Jeep videos. So my lifted Jeep Liberty, and then what's number 2? Oh, changing the fuel filter on my Jeep Liberty CRD. And those were averaging about 80 some views a day, like every day. Or it's either, I think that's the 48-hour stat. Anyway, whatever the default is in YouTube. But this head video now is performing about 120 views in that same period. So it's going to, it's about the 5,000 views already. That video went up in May. And so that's one I'm honestly proud of that one. So.
And mine has to be one of the first episodes that I did when I bought Grandma. It was just simply a video titled, can I turbo a Panther platform, or can I, a Grand Marquis? And that video recently hit 20,000 subscribers. Now that doesn't sound like a lot to some people, but to me, that's a lot because that's my most viewed video. And this Panther car that I have, Grandma, is what people are drawn to. So when I started the series on the rear differential swap that was released last weekend, there's 4 videos in that series. They are all performing better than any other video that I've released in any term, and they're getting several views a day. I can see those videos growing over time to be just like the turboing Grandma video. So yeah, I would have to say that that's probably one of my favorites. Not to mention the fact that if you're getting views, you're getting paid. So,
Dirty Garage Mods asks, when are you guys going to review "quote unquote" roast more channels?
Well, for starters, I hope that you certainly didn't feel like we roasted your channel the day that we did the review on yours. That certainly wasn't the intent, but we do plan on doing a little bit more of that, likely in season 5. So stay tuned for that.
And man, Jed, I don't know what to tell you, but all I show on my phone is you texted me back last night at 10:51. I don't remember you trying to call me back, but my phone does do crazy things too. So, so Novotaz asks, when does Grandma get a Coyote motor?
Probably never. If I could start making some serious quid on YouTube, yeah, maybe I would. I'd put a Coyote. I'd turbo it and supercharge it. I don't know, whatever you guys wanted to see. But if you haven't checked the price on Coyote motors these days, unless you're buying a whole wrecked vehicle, you're looking at probably 7 to 10 grand. So I don't have that kind of quid right now.
Yeah, I know that. I think that's really the key is if you can buy you can get some steals on Copart.com, and if you find the right, even the truck motors are pretty popular. I mean, if you found a T-boned F-150 with a 5 liter and you had land to where, well, of course, if I'm going to do the swap, it's going to take a century to do if my brakes take 6 months. But inevitably you're going to like miss something at the junkyard or think, especially if it's your first time, think you've got everything, but like from an ECU, like some of these, I know on EcoBoost swaps, there's a certain generation of Fords that you actually have to have the dash to like interface with the ECM. Like that, there's workarounds, but it's just easier if you had the dash. So things like that, like if you had land, you could store the F-150 to the side, swap the motor in, and then as you're starting to do all the little details, you just walk back outside and go grab that next thing.
That's right. So for all, and I'm going to speak 100% seriously here, for all you LS swap everything haters, that's why LS swaps are so popular. A, the engines are readily available. B, they're fairly inexpensive. And C, to do that swap is not that big of a deal. You don't need a whole lot to make it happen. So I'm just throwing that out there. Another question that's come in there was Will's Wheel says the roasting channel thing made me rewrite my about section. So again, I hope that you guys don't see that as roasting. It was a review was asked, and we reviewed, and I hope that it helped you guys take a look at some of your items on your YouTube channel and your page, and made a few changes. That's all.
And actually, while we're on that subject, I want to keep going on that subject, but I did say I do also want to earmark. We'll answer one last question from Johnny XR7 after this, but in the chat, if you guys give some feedback. So we did 2 channel reviews that night, and as Jason and I walked away from that episode, we thought maybe it would make more sense to just do one and go a little more in depth. So let us know. Did you like the 2 channel format, or do you think you'd rather just see us kind of deep dive into one? So on that note, and also did want to welcome here in the final minutes to the stream, Snydertron 3000. We do appreciate you carving some time out to hang with us. So, so Johnny XR7 asks, have you guys learned any valuable lessons while making YouTube videos? So, Johnny, that is actually what the whole live stream is about. Is we try to share tips and tricks and lessons we've learned. Now tonight we try to have a little more fun with it, and we did the award show thing, and that took a little longer. But yeah, we try to share anything. And the way I always say it, just like we've been talking about these channel review, quote unquote roasts. It's really sometimes we want to help these people out who are in their infancy, because sometimes there's just really simple things that we think can pay dividends. It's sort of like investing at a young age, right? So if you stow away $30 a month when you're 20 years old in like a 401k will compound interest, right? So some really small moves way early on, we think actually can help you guys have big dividends. And keep in mind, I don't even have 2,000 subscribers, and I've been doing it for 5 years. So don't think that like I'm some sort of whiz, but there are definitely things you wish you would have learned sooner.
Yeah, there are some things that you pick up, and like Grant said, we're certainly, neither one of us are professionals. We're just kind of going along, and we're learning things along the way, just like you guys are. I think it's about time that we just kind of call the show a show. We do want to give you a heads up on next week's guest is Greg's Garage. If you guys have not heard of Greg's Garage, we will make sure that there's a link in the description down below of this video. And do we want to say who our season finale is?
Yeah, why not?
All right. So go ahead and introduce our season finale.
Well, we're going to wrap things up for season 4 with a friend up north of us. So we're going to go even further north than Junkyard Digs, and we're going to try to land in the frozen tundra of Vice Grip Garage Land. And so we have Derek lined up. I don't remember, is his gal going to come on with, or we're still kind of working some details out. So we may not know. It might just be him, and it might be him and his wife. So. Yeah. With that, Jason, I'll let you close this out. I'll just hit the mute over here and let you do your thing.
All right. So yeah, trying to get Derek on the show was great. The fact that we finally kind of were able to kind of cross paths and make sure that he had the right date and this and that, and he's He's excited. We're excited to have him, and I hope that you guys are too. So in 2 weeks, on the 5th of November, we're going to have Derek from Vice Grip Garage. Spread the word. Tell everybody you know. We're going to be posting it like crazy. Next week is Greg's Garage. So thanks everyone for being a part of the show. Thanks for being a part of everything every week. You guys are great. I think this whole awards thing could be something we'll do again at the end of season 5, just simply because I had a lot of fun with it. Had some laughs. I know you guys did too. So thanks for being a part of that. Thanks for joining us this Thursday on the Car Guy and SIXFAN show. As I end every take two. As I end every episode on my channel, stay focused on the windshield, not the rearview mirror. Guys, we'll see you next week.